Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I have a big update when it comes to Tana Mojo and the wine situation. Now, if you are not aware, we made an entire in-depth video about this where Tana Mojo went on her podcast and retold the story of when she was visiting in France and she went to this wine tour. And I'm going to leave it at that because I know this article is probably going to explain a lot as well, but it was really messy. We made an entire video on it. You can watch it if you want, and if not, we'll catch you up in this article. But I've seen that NBC have released a big update whenever it comes to this. Someone said, everyone, welcome back to his YouTube channel. Thank you, muckers. So it says, sponsors cut ties with YouTube star who says that she wanted international wine expert dead. What a headline. A famous YouTuber is under fire for sharing her negative experience at a wine tour, but the tour guide says she wasn't telling the truth. So, what was her name again? Cynthia. Cynthia is back for blood. Cynthia's out for blood. Cynthia is not allowing Tana Mojo to walk all over her. Remember we went through the wine tour in the last video and we were all kind of like, I kind of want to go for it. Okay, before I get into the next part of the video, I just want to slow it down for a second, so stick with me here. Now, I never really talk about the behind the scenes of YouTube or anything like that, and being fully 100% transparent with you, the next company and the next thing I'm going to talk about is one of the sole reasons that I get to continue to be able to do this. And basically, we're all aware of what has been going on, and we're all aware of the fact that there is constantly things coming out, and this Colleen situation has been incredibly intense for the past couple months, and Adam and Eve have stuck through me throughout this entire thing, and they have been rooting for me and in my corner. And I want you to know as well that whenever you see YouTubers do sponsorships, it's very easy to think, oh, they're just sponsored. But Adam and Eve have been persistent with me for 3 years now, standing behind me with whatever, and they have been the sole reason that I get to continue to do this as a job. And I just want to say 100% thank you to Adam and Eve, and thank you so much to all of you that support the deal that we have. I want to give that little bit of an interval because I know that whenever you hear a sponsor, you can think, oh, you know, I've already heard this sponsor, whatever, but I just want you to know how much this company means to me and how much they have been just incredible to our entire community. Before I get into the sponsor. And I want to let you know that today's video is sponsored by adamandeve.com yet again for a third year, which is so exciting. For the past 3 years, every single month, they've came back because of the support that you've given them, which has been the biggest support of my channel. And you also get something in the process as well. So if you go to adamandeve.com and you check out, you will use code ADAM50 and you will get 50% half off, literally half off, one item and free shipping in the US and Canada. If you're an international babe like myself, there is shipping for all of us as well. But you will get that 50% off and free shipping in the US and Canada if you use the code ADAM50. Now again, Adam and Eve are an incredible company to stand behind. A lot of their proceeds goes to helping fighting the spread of HIV all around the world, which I'm incredibly proud to stand behind them. They have 90-day no hassle return in case you don't love your product, which you will, and also 24/7 customer service. They're over 50 years in the business. But if you go over to their website, adamandeve.com. They also just have a lot of self-care things. They have things for people who are single, who are in relationships. There's a lot of really fun things over there, and there's just a lot of like healthcare, like self-care things that I absolutely adore over there. So go over, take a little look through the site. It is adamandeve.com, and if you use that code ADAM50 at checkout, you will get 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada. If you don't love what you get, which you will, you have that 90-day no hassle return. And also, I just really love this company, and I'm very proud to stand behind them. Thank you to Adam and Eve for always coming back and sponsoring the channel. Thank you to the muckers who are always supporting this deal. And again, that is adamandeve.com, code ADAM50 at checkout for 50% off, half off, one item, and free shipping, US and Canada, shipping internationally as well. Love you, Adam and Eve. So Cynthia is responding. This is by Kat Tambarge. Hey, Kat. One of YouTube's top influencers ranked against an internationally recognized French wine expert, leading to targeted hateful comments online, but the expert and tour guide says that she was simply doing her job. Now, one of the influencer's sponsors is cutting ties with the online star because of this. So Cynthia is responding, and I think one thing that, you know, what I said was, in my original video, Tana was telling this story and, you know, really throwing this woman under the bus and calling her every name under the sun and talking about how she's the worst person ever. And here's my thing on it. There's nothing wrong with Tana doing story times, and there's also nothing wrong with Tana Mojo going to a wine tour and fucking hating it and saying publicly that she hates it. The difference is when she starts mentioning the names of the workers and stuff, because she literally was like, oh, I wrote down her name so I could remember it. Cynthia, fuck you, sympathy. Hello? Cynthia. So what ended up happening was Tana Mojo fans ended up going to the company that Cynthia worked at and spammed them with reviews that basically said everything under the sun, from Cynthia is the worst employee, she should be fired, no one should book this tour because Cynthia treated them wrong. So people were making up fake reviews on Tana's behalf to get Cynthia fired. Now, Cynthia is one of the top French wine experts who does these expensive tours. It was like $500 to like $800 a person, and Tana Mojo went on it. And there's nothing wrong with Tana telling that story, but it changes when you have, you know, such a big platform and you have a responsibility and you're naming her and then your followers are going to her. There's Sympathia. Sympathia. So obviously Cynthia is responding because she, you know, was at risk of her job being taken off her, and because she was just doing her job. And then this influencer didn't like it, you know, that kind of thing. So shout out Cynthia. So, Tana Mojo is known for sharing dramatically exaggerated stories, just opening it with the drag, about her life as an influencer. This propelled her to fame on YouTube, where she drew 5 million subscribers and a podcast, Cancelled, that draws more than 500,000 listeners every single week. So it was on... Wait, everyone said vapes out? What? What are we talking about? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Vapes out? LOL, vapes out. Vapes out for Tana. I was like, what's going on? I love that this article is opening up with Tana releasing exaggerated, dramatic stories. And also, it was on Cancelled, the podcast, that this story went up. So Mojo's latest controversy raises questions around the larger consequences of influencers wielding the power of their platform against small businesses. Now, again, this was the issue that we brought up, which was, you know, there's nothing wrong with Tana saying this, but there's a problem whenever she's like directly mentioning people's names and then putting people's jobs on the line because of her experience, because she didn't like what she was booked to do. You know what I mean? Like, Cynthia, the worst crime Cynthia did was do her job and be disrespected. You know what I mean? So the targets of these attacks often find that, you know, they're turning to internet for help. So in a podcast episode released on August 6th, Tana Mojo spent around 30 minutes explaining what happened during a wine tour she took on a recent trip to France. She revealed the name of her tour guide, Cynthia. Now again, she literally was like, I remember this bitch's name so I can call her out. Fuck you, Cynthia, and was calling her every name under the sun. So there's a difference when she's telling the story and then when she's literally addressing and bringing in people's names. And people were like, Adam, it was extreme that you said Tana Mojo doxed someone, but she did. Like, she didn't give someone's address, but she said, you know, the place that they did the wine tour, the wine tour company, Cynthia's name. It's enough for her audience to go and find her, which is, I'm sorry, doxing. And I know a lot of Tana Mojo fans were like, here Adam McIntyre goes again, you know, over dramatizing things. No, she did dox her. It's just like the level of it. And yeah, the autism comment that Tana made as well. She said that Cynthia has a touch of the tism because she was so fixated on wine, even though Tana paid for her to tell her about wine. All right. So Tana spent about 30 minutes explaining what happened during a wine tour that she took on a recent trip to France. She revealed the name Cynthia, as well as the name of the champagne house in the French town with a population of under 3,000. Remember, Tana was like, there's like 100 people that work there. Tana Mojo didn't reveal the guide's last name, but a Google search for Cynthia and French wine tour displays the guide's personal website, because again, she's one of the top that do this. So Cynthia runs her own business called Delectables. She is a certified wine and spirits educator who was voted best wine experience in Paris by Travel and Hospitality Awards. So she wins awards for being good at this. I love the tomatoes in chat. And she also won Wine Expert of the Year by Luxury Travel Global Awards. Global Awards. And top 50 wine experiences in the world by The Wine Magazine. So I think they know what they're talking about. During the episode, Tana Mojo said she was already upset because about the tour beginning before it even began, because she had stayed up until drinking until 6 a.m. the next day. She said she had expected the tour to involve vehicles, but it turned out that it was a lengthy walking tour. So again, Tana told the story, and not hashtag free Cynthia. So it was said in the podcast by Tana, I think she was saying this as a defense, that, you know, her and her friends were drinking under the Eiffel Tower until 6 a.m. They were blackout drunk, and then they had to wake up at 8 a.m. for this tour. Don't you think you should have said, bring your Air Maxes, Tana Mojo said during the podcast, referencing a popular sneaker and complaining that she was unaware what the tour would entail. Tana Mojo blamed Cynthia for not informing their group, but Cynthia has shared screenshots with NBC News that appeared to show that she did send a detailed itinerary ahead of time to Tana Mojo's friend who paid for the tour. So basically, Tana's lying. And Cynthia has the receipts. Cynthia brought the receipts. All right. And the Tana Mojo's friend signed off on the itinerary, which stated, you should bring a bottle of water and wear comfortable walking shoes. You should wear casual clothes and also wear layers because it will be chilly. So Cynthia is now showing the receipts as to the fact that she did everything that she was supposed to do. Tana Mojo said she was angry that Cynthia wouldn't leave her alone during the listen, if I've paid like $800 for a wine tour, I hope that you're telling me everything about the wine for those 12 hours so I get my money's worth. I'm going to be honest. Tana said that she was annoyed that Cynthia wouldn't leave her alone during the 12-hour tour, which Tana then left after 5 hours, and that Cynthia explained things like the history of different wines on the train to Dormans, which is in the Champagne region of France. Tana Mojo added that she thought that Cynthia was condescending towards her and that she had been expecting to be drinking wine throughout the entire tour. So basically, Tana Mojo thought she was going to be fucked by like 10 a.m. if they went at 9 a.m. Eventually, Tana Mojo said on the podcast that she put her headphones in to listen to music during the tour. That she, you know, her friend had paid so much money for her to go to. Tana Mojo said that Cynthia said that she was being extremely disrespectful and at one point asked for a car to take her back to Paris. Tana Mojo then started yelling on the podcast saying that we paid you and I don't want to learn about the fertilization of grass in the middle of France in a town with a population of 300 at 8:40 a.m. after I've just walked a mile and a half and there's yet to be a glass of wine in my hand. So a statement from Tana. Tana Mojo also repeatedly expressed wanting to physically fight Cynthia, saying that she wants to curb stomp her and even kill her. Sorry, it's laughable because it's like crazy. Per Cynthia, free Cynthia. I absolutely want her dead at the hands of me, Tana Mojo said during an episode. When Tana Mojo read an advertisement for one of the podcast sponsors, the language learning platform Babbel. Oh, so this was a sponsor in this episode. Ooh, rough. She included the line, I remember this. So during the sponsorship, Tana said, and with Babbel, I could have told Cynthia the wine tour lady to shut the fuck up in her native language. I forgot that is something that happened. So Babbel are pulling out because Tana kind of weaponized their company against Cynthia and the sponsor, literally saying, because Babbel's, you know, like learning different languages. And during the sponsor, Tana said, and with Babbel, I could have told Cynthia to shut the fuck up in her native language, which is super weird and condescending. On Tuesday, Matt, which is Babbel's public relations lead, we're pulling out the public relations, told NBC News that the company was no longer working with Tana Mojo and would more carefully vet podcast sponsorships in the future. Tana Mojo didn't respond to a request for comment. This absolutely does not align with Babbel's company values, he wrote in an email. Highlighted here, Tana is obviously not a person who understands or celebrates the differences in cultures, and we regret to have ever been involved with her in any way. Ooh, rough. During her interview with NBC News, I can't believe Cynthia's doing an interview with NBC News. That is camp. That is camp. Cynthia went from French wine to NBC News just because she wanted to do her job. So Cynthia said that there are cultural differences for wine and spirit professionals in France. You have a responsibility and a legal obligation to encourage people to drink responsibly. If you read the small print on my website, it also says you're encouraged to drink responsibly, Cynthia said. So all day, if I wanted to be a responsible professional, I had to promote and encourage that. And by the way, Cynthia is not doing anything wrong for setting the boundaries in her workplace environment. All of my decisions were, how can I remain as professional as possible and try to make everyone happy, Cynthia said. Oh my god, here's Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. Look at her pointing to that map. You better point at that map, queen. You better point. Yes. You better work, Cynthia. I want to go to one of these tours. I want to go to one of these tours. Cynthia, will you have me and the muckers? Please. After the podcast episode was released, Cynthia said she started to receive strange messages from strangers on Instagram. One person sent her a link to the podcast. After listening, Cynthia said she reported Tana Mojo's death threats to the police in Paris, where she lives. Tana Mojo is not seeing Paris again. Tana Mojo is not stepping foot out of Charles de Gaulle. I don't even know what that airport is called in Paris. She is not stepping foot out of that airport anymore. So Cynthia has reported Tana Mojo's death threats to the police in Paris, where she lives. She declined to share a copy of the report, citing privacy reasons. NBC, I think Tana, whenever she was telling her silly little story time, didn't think about this. NBC News observed more than 5 negative reviews and comments newly posted on the tour guide's personal Instagram account, as well as on Google reviews for the Champagne House. Cynthia said she read some of the comments, which included some of Mojo's fans threatening to hurt her business, and even find her phone number. And then here's, a review. If you decide to book a tour here, ask for anyone but Cynthia, one review on Google said. Another said, couldn't enjoy the tour due to how unprofessional Cynthia is. Avoid her at all costs. So here's what I'm saying. Here's the problem. You know what I mean? I don't mean to repeat myself because I know people like to call me out on that. There's no problem with saying that you went on a wine tour and you hated it and even detailing what happened. But once you start weaponizing names, and that is what Tana did. That is what she did. She weaponized that here's Cynthia, this is Cynthia's name. Go fuck yourself, Cynthia. Once you start doing that, things like this you can get reported to the French police. You know what I mean? There is something that can happen because of that. And I don't mean to continue repeating myself, but there is a responsibility as a content creator. A comment left on the guide's Instagram account said, you should not talk about people that come into tour, Cynthia. So basically this was about Cynthia messaging Tana's friend saying that she was so rude and she'll not get anywhere in life and all these different things and we don't like her here. A comment left said that the reviews and comments each referred what Mojo shared on the podcast. Of course it wasn't pleasant to listen to someone lie and say nasty things about me, but I'm a big girl. Ooh, Cynthia, you better work. You better work, Cynthia. I'm a big girl, Cynthia said. I can handle people trashing me, but death threats is too far. So, to Cynthia's surprise, she started receiving comments and messages from Tana's listeners who were Team Cynthia. Some of them were upset with Tana Mojo and helped Cynthia report these false reviews left to the Champagne House. People were sending me Reddit threads. I've never even used Reddit before in my life, Cynthia said. Oh, she's so real. Cynthia, can we have you on the pod? There's at least, I think I counted 10 different threads devoted to this. So with humanity, I can see the consequences is now outpouring of kindness and a wake-up call for a lot of people, Cynthia went on to say. It's just wrong. Cyberbullying and death threats, well, that's just next level. An article from Kat Tembarge from NBC News. Oh my god, I felt like a news reporter there. And that's Kat Tembarge from NBC News. On to the weather. Okay. My full thing is that if Tana did not know the ramifications of this tour and her friend really blindsided her, then you go home before you make an issue. But Tana stayed and made an issue. And she kept justifying this by saying, he had spent a lot of money and stuff, but then you're causing an inconvenience and you're almost doing it for a story time. So I'm 100% Team Cynthia on this one. Cynthia, you always have a place here on the Adam McIntyre channel. But yeah, this is really bad for Tana. She just told a story, and if she told it in a different way, she wouldn't be dealing with police reports right now. And I mean, she's not even responding to any reports from NBC or anything like that. So she just shot herself in the foot for no reason. She could have told this and not mentioned her name. It's as easy as that. Cynthia, not the a-hole. Tana Mojo, the a-hole. All right, well, Cynthia, sending you a lot of love, babe.